One of the common problems in WordPress is related to tables. When you have a table like this with a lot of data and many rows, you usually run into issues with its responsiveness. On the other hand, it's very important for Google and other search engines that you should be able to effectively utilize tables that contain valuable and pertinent data. By default, when you possess a table that is quite similar to this particular one, which is populated with a substantial amount of data, if the overall width of the table happens to decrease, what typically and commonly occurs is that a horizontal scroll bar will prominently appear on the page. Concurrently, a noticeable white space is often created within your column, which in actuality significantly impacts the crucial metrics that are directly related to the page's overall responsiveness. Furthermore, major search engines will undoubtedly flag this as a considerable issue that needs addressing. Alternatively, in another conceivable scenario, when you attempt to view this very same table on a comparatively smaller screen, a significant portion of the table might not be displayed at all, leading to a less than ideal user experience. However, here we are presenting a robust and practical solution that is specifically designed to assist you in viewing the table in such a manner that if the table itself becomes narrower than the designated column, as you can clearly observe, a convenient horizontal scroll bar is automatically added to the page. This allows you to effortlessly scroll through the content, or more specifically on mobile devices, by simply dragging and swiping your finger across the table. You can seamlessly view the other columns as well, ensuring all data is accessible. This highly useful functionality can be implemented in one of two distinct ways, either by meticulously writing and applying custom code, or by conveniently utilizing a pre-built plugin. I'm going to thoroughly explain both of these effective methods in this comprehensive tutorial video, providing you with all the necessary steps and insights. So let us now proceed to the very first step, which involves installing the plugin. I have in fact already meticulously prepared this specific plugin, and it is readily available and has been officially approved within the esteemed WordPress repository. Therefore, you can very easily download and subsequently use it on your own website to successfully enable this highly beneficial scroll feature. I will make sure to provide the direct link to this particular page and the plugin itself for your convenience. All you essentially need to do is navigate to the plugin section of your website, and from there, within the WordPress plugin repository, diligently search for the specific plugin titled Responsive Horizontal Table Scroll. Given that this particular plugin has only very recently been added, you might need to carefully scroll through at least a page or perhaps even 2 full pages of results to successfully locate it. So we can find it. Here it is, Responsive Horizontal Table. It has an icon that looks like this. Now all you need to do is install this plugin. The internet is having issues and the download failed, but it actually downloaded, though it's giving an error. Now I'll activate it. You might not get this error. In the plugin section, and I'll go back to these tables and refresh the page. And if I were to carefully reduce the overall width of the display now, as you can clearly and distinctly see, a horizontal scroll bar is automatically activated and becomes visible for it, allowing for easy navigation of the content. In that state, it was cached. I actually cleared the cache, and you can see that when the plugin is active, there's a blinking arrow right here. A blinking arrow, it gets activated right here, so the user knows they should have this scroll bar. And also, when it exits the scroll state, meaning it goes back to the beginning, this blinking indicator will appear again. You only have this feature when the plugin is installed, right? Let me say this. Creating horizontal scroll for the table doesn't cause any problems, and actually it works. It is also compatible with the standard and doesn't cause any issues. Considering that your page width is fully set to 100%, and another point about this plugin is that when you're on the mobile version, some of the suggested methods, like actually by setting display to block, the table scrolls but your page doesn't, and that causes problems. We've also addressed this issue in fact, this plugin. We have successfully solved it, and when you actually carefully fold the page, you will see the result. Since the table height is fixed, it gets read and doesn't cause any issues with page scrolling. Some methods because of how scrolling is handled, cause problems and naturally shouldn't be used. All right, let's move on to the next method. Actually, for the manual method without installing the plugin, you need to do two things. First, I need to activate this plugin. That's one step. So what you need to do is apply a minimum amount of styling. Basically, your elements are now ready for this. In fact, you can load your site's CSS code. What you do is inside WordPress, you go to Appearance, then to the Customize section. In the additional CSS section at the end of your code, you add it. You can also leave a comment, add a comment, and explain the issue if you want. Scroll. You can also leave a comment so you know what this code is for. The second part is about loading a JavaScript code. Now in this code, let me explain what's happening here. It creates a class called table scroll, which this table scroll, what we need to do is assign it to these tables automatically because we don't want to go and manually make changes to the code of each table, so that all the tables are detected at once, and for any table whose width is greater, this will automatically happen. This feature will be applied so that it can actually have horizontal scrolling. That's why we use a JavaScript code. With this JavaScript code, you can do this in 3 different ways. If your theme is one where you can clearly and easily see the footer.php file, you can actually proceed to go to the relevant section. You can then go to your editor, and if you have footer.php here, you can carefully and precisely place the code inside it, and the code should always be added just before the closing body tag. If you do not have this footer.php file, you can alternatively use a very helpful and convenient plugin like Code Snippets, so that you can load this code into your pages. One way is, if you're using WordPress with Elementor, which most people do, you can go to Elementor, then go to Custom Code and click on New Code. You can easily place your custom code right before the closing body slash, and I can conveniently name it scroll so that it will be automatically applied across my entire website, ensuring consistent functionality. Okay, so the next step is actually now complete. That means we've added both our JavaScript code and our CSS code. One of the posts I had actually had a wider width. If I check this table, you'll see that horizontal scroll is enabled for it, just this feature. From a UI perspective, there was a blinking arrow so the user would know they need to scroll, but that's not present here. You might say that the scroll bar is already there and there's no need for this, but keep in mind that, for example, I am now resizing by making the browser window smaller and larger. I'm doing this. When you look at it on the mobile version, this actually doesn't exist. There's no scroll bar, and the user probably won't notice it. It's like this, and the user won't realize it. At first, since the scroll bar isn't there and can't be seen, the user doesn't realize that they need to scroll in this version. The plugin and the same arrow have been placed. Very easy. You can use it without any code, but if you insist on using code, you can use this method. Let me mention another point. Some people might not even have access to, or for example, might not even have Elementor. So they want to load it through custom code, and I've considered this extra bit as well. You might not even have custom code in Elementor, or maybe you don't want to install a plugin like Code Snippets and that's it. Or you might not even have access to your footer.php, but you definitely absolutely have access to your themes functions.php. What you can do in that case is, let's assume this doesn't exist, and I'll delete it. What you need to do is go to the appearance section, then to the functions.php section, which you definitely have access to. No matter what theme you're using, you have access to this, right? You see, I even left a comment for you at the end. And let's not display the post at this particular moment, considering that there is already a comprehensive table present. For instance, if this specific element becomes noticeably smaller, that indicates the dynamic Ajax component. Essentially, continuous scrolling functionality is actively occurring for it, as you can clearly observe. Therefore, I should thoroughly review it at least once to ensure proper operation. I think all you need to do is just add a CSS code and load a JavaScript file along with it, these two codes together. Now, obviously, you put this in your theme's customizer, but if you couldn't add a JavaScript file like this, if you can't call it directly, you just need to use this PHP code instead inside your functions file. Place it in your PHP file, and the code itself, will execute your JavaScript as a function within itself, and there won't be any issues. It will run on all pages as well. Thank you. If you actually downloaded and installed the plugin through the WordPress repository, please leave me a review and recommend it to your friends as well. Thank you.